was a seed sown in the soil of your destiny. Those tears were not wasted. That pain was not wasted. Those lonely nights were not wasted. The God who watches over your life does not lose count of what you've endured. And now, he is about to make the enemy regret ever touching your life. When God restores, he does not ask for permission. He does not check the calendar. He does not consult your past. He simply speaks a word and everything begins to align. The very places where you once cried will become places of laughter. The people who mocked you will have to watch you rise. The doors that were closed will swing open by divine authority. What you thought was over is about to begin again. God is about to redeem the time, renew your strength, and rebuild what was broken, stronger, greater, and more glorious than before. Do not think for a moment that God has forgotten you. You have not been overlooked. You have not been abandoned. You have been hidden. Hidden in preparation for the season of restoration. Hidden because your foundation had to be strengthened before the weight of your blessing could be released. God sometimes delays because he is building something eternal. He allows the years to seem wasted so that when the restoration comes, no man will be able to take credit for it. Everyone, it was God. You must understand this divine restoration begins not with what God gives you, but with what God awakens in you. The first thing God restores is not your finances, not your relationships, not your opportunities. It's your faith. Because once your faith is alive again, everything else begins to rise. God cannot restore through a heart that has given up. He restores through a spirit that dares to believe again. You may have been through failure after failure, but this is not the end. God has written something powerful into your story that is about to unfold before your very eyes. The same God who created time can reverse it. The same God who spoke worlds into being can speak life into the ashes of your past. The same God who turned a barren wilderness into a river of abundance can turn your years of loss into years of overflow. God never wastes a wound, never ignores a tear, never overlooks a heart that has been faithful in silence. You've cried long enough. You've carried that burden long enough. It is time to stand up in the authority of faith and declare, my wasted years are being restored by the hand of God. Restoration does not come through wishing. It comes through alignment. You must align your mind, your words, your expectations with the truth of what God has declared. Stop talking about what you lost and start speaking about what's being restored. Stop focusing on who left and start thanking God for who's about to arrive. Stop rehearsing your pain and start declaring your purpose. God cannot fill a heart that clings to what's gone. Release the past and make room for what's coming. Some of you think your time is over. You say, I'm too old. I missed my chance. I wasted my youth. But God says, I am not limited by your age. I am the restorer of years, not moments, not opportunities, years. That means the years you spent wandering, the years you spent grieving, the years you spent trying to figure out who you are. God can compress all of that into one divine season of overflow. When he restores, he pays back in multiplied measure. What took others 20 years to build, God can give you in 2. What was delayed for a decade, God can manifest in a day. You may not understand how, but you will see it happen. God can cause people to favor you out of nowhere. He can cause lost opportunities to find their way back to your door. He can cause your name to be mentioned in rooms you've never entered. The same God who orchestrates the movements of galaxies is orchestrating the details of your restoration. He can revive what you thought was dead and breathe new life into the areas you gave up on. Every time you thought you were losing, God was actually saving. Every closed door was a redirection. Every disappointment was divine protection. You thought you were being delayed, but you were being developed. God was maturing your faith, sharpening your discernment, and deepening your dependence. Because when the restoration comes, you will not just enjoy it, you will sustain it. God will not give you a blessing that your character cannot carry. He will not restore something to you that your spirit cannot manage. That is why the waiting has been so long. That is why the silence was so heavy. But now, the preparation is over. The season of restoration is here. There is a sound rising in the spirit. It is the sound of chains breaking. The sound of tears turning into laughter. The sound of barren places becoming fruitful again. The sound of time being redeemed. God is rewriting your story. What was once a testimony of pain is about to become a story of power. What was once a season of emptiness is about to overflow with divine abundance. Your life is about to be a public display of what God can do when He restores a person completely. Do not underestimate what God can do in 1 year of restoration. You've had years of waiting, but 1 year of divine acceleration can make it all make sense. One move of God can reposition everything. The job you lost, the relationship that ended, the season that dried up, all of it can turn into a testimony of restoration overnight. You must keep your faith alive, because faith is the magnet that attracts divine recovery. Every tear you cried has been counted. Every prayer you whispered in the dark has been heard. Every sacrifice you made in silence has been recorded. And now heaven is ready to respond. The time of hiding is over. The time of weeping is over. The time of restoration has come. God is about to shock you with what He is about to release. You will look back and say, now I understand why it had to take so long. You will say, now I see why those years felt wasted, because God was preparing something beyond imagination. There will be no trace of your former pain. The same way a wound heals and leaves behind only strength, your restoration will leave behind only glory. People will look at you and see not the scars, but the strength that came from them. They will ask, how did you recover so quickly? How did everything change? And you will know deep within your spirit, it was God. No man could have orchestrated it. No logic could have explained it. It was divine restoration. You must rise now. Do not stay in the place of mourning. Do not let regret be your companion. You have mourned your lost years long enough. Stand in faith. Lift your head high and declare, God is restoring me. Speak it until your atmosphere changes. Declare it until your heart believes it. Prophesy it until it manifests in your life. Because what you speak in faith, God establishes in reality. When God restores, He does not begin from where you stopped. He begins from where you should have been if nothing had been stolen from you. He recalculates your destiny, not to bring you back to zero, but to propel you forward into divine compensation. The years the locust has eaten, the seasons that were drained by pain and confusion, the time that seemed swallowed by regret, God remembers every detail. He remembers every year that slipped away, and He is not restoring just for the sake of balance. He is restoring to reveal His power and faithfulness in your life. The hand of God will move so swiftly that those who once pitied you will stand in awe of what He has done. There are moments when you will feel as though everything is too broken to be repaired. You will look at your life and see fragments, pieces of dreams, shattered hopes, lost opportunities, and wonder how anything good can ever rise from it. But the power of God works best in the broken. Restoration is not about gluing the pieces together. It is about creating something new out of what was shattered. God does not simply fix what's broken. He transforms it into something stronger, something more beautiful, something more enduring. The cracks in your story become the very places where His light shines through. You must understand, God allows loss not to punish you, but to position you. He allows things to be taken away, not because He is cruel, but because He is clearing space for something greater. Some doors had to close, not because you were unworthy, but because they were too small for the person you are becoming. Some people had to walk away, not because you failed, but because they could not go where God is taking you. When you begin to see through divine eyes, you will realize that nothing was wasted. Not the pain, not the silence, not even the mistakes.